Hey up, me duck. To Twin Humanities episode. What? Yeah, no, it's been a while. Episode. Is it 69?
I think it's the good one, isn't it?
What? I was wondering if that was French for the naughty word.
It's the sex number.
Let's move on. I am still Coffee Jesus. Who are you?
I'm still Paddy, I think, even though the years have not been kind. I'm a bit older now, a bit more haggard. There's some grey coming through the beard and coming through the temples, maybe. Yeah, the hair on my temples. Like I'm getting a bit older. I'm getting more of a Mr. Fantastic look with like the white on the sides. I think it's a good look.
This is not what people want to hear.
Nah.
We've got lots to talk about for a change.
Yeah.
It's been some interesting boings that have inspired the episode. Have you prepared any thoughts? Or are they still in your head, rattling around like a Powerball?
I would argue they're not even in my head yet.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is we're going to, at the minute, there's a blank canvas up there, and you're going to throw me a ball.
There's always a blank canvas.
You're going to throw me the ball, and I'm going to just kind of hurl that ball. It's going to be a paint ball at the canvas and see what happens. So,
really?
At very least today, listeners, you're going to get honest, off-the-cuff reactions. I'm not going to sit here and think about what I'm going to say.
You're just going to get the exact Twin Humanities experience where I've kind of considered my thoughts and Lado's turned up.
Well, I did like earlier, you put out the tweet from the account where I've gone to a coffee shop to plan and prepare and drink a nice coffee. It's like, that's clearly me that's done this today, isn't it? It's
fun to be able to do that though, and it's kind of nice to veer towards soul stuff again, because I kind of wanted to leave it alone for quite a while. Burned out a touch, I think, and but I'll go into that in a bit.
We'll get there.
Go into that in a bit. Firstly,
yeah.
Ginger lip balm, marvellous.
Sure,
that sounds
tell
like
them.
that's. I was going to say that in retrospect, that does sound like some sort of pet name I got for you, but no. So last night there was the Game Awards, which was the 500th anniversary of me hoping that the remaster of Demon's Soul would turn up. Didn't. So 501 at PSX. I think it's going to be there, though.
The sweepstakes continues.
I know.
Who's got 501?
Take a shot. So we did get a very, very brief look at a trailer called Shadows Die Twice. Did you take a look at it?
Well, I mean, I blinked. I think I missed it. I blinked. No, I did. I have seen it. Yeah, I tried again, but I don't even know if it's really. You could call it a trailer. It's more of a here's an image that moved a little bit and some text.
Is it a tour? Not quite a trailer. It's a tour.
It's more of a GIF.
Yeah,
that could have been a GIF.
Considering that Bloodborne kind of launched with a hidden trailer, which was turned into GIF, which was turned back into kind of
was it WebMs?
A video. Yeah, it seemed to be. I don't know. Depending on how you stare at it, either a trick weapon being loaded, or some. My initial thoughts were some sort of bone arm with a rope or a winch inside it.
Oh, see, I thought fishing rod.
Is that it? You've been
seriously, I like. It's look, there's some twine around a rolly thing and some string going down, and it goes taut. So maybe that's pulling on something like a fishing rod. I mean, winch might be more sensible, but A fishing rod was all I could think of.
What kind of fish do you think would be in a sequel to Bloodborne? Nasty ones, probably.
Okay, like, you've probably not done it yet, have you? There's a whole bit in the DLC, the Old Hunters DLC, where they go to a fishman village.
Oh, right, yeah.
And these horrible fish squid people that are just awful. Just nasty squid bees, like fish boys. They're awful people. Maybe some
I've
of
now
those.
got a vision of the Blue Man Group, but Fishman people are doing like fish bada, bish bada, boosh.
I mean, they are blue.
Bada. Oh, there we go.
You're not far off.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. Do you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna lead in with my honest reaction to that little trailer thing. Here is my honest reaction. I had. I don't think I care yet. I don't care. It's a gift.
Is it nice to know that we've got kind of a little saucy wink from just a saucy wink, because they've not even acknowledged any of us for a while.
It's like, you remember when there was that E3 a while ago, and I think it's Square Enix had a show, or Sony had a show, and the president came out, because Final Fantasy 15 was like a year and a half away at that point. It's like, oh yeah, they came out like, hey look, Final Fantasy 15, we've got more to show you at E3, lol. And then he pissed off and didn't show anything. Like, it feels like that, like, we're doing something. Next clip.
I'm going to add into this that, all sort of ginger comedy aside, what did you think was going off in that video?
What, with the fishing rod?
Well, whatever you think it might be.
What do I think's actually happening?
Yeah.
Okay. Probably, I mean, it looked dirty and bloody, and like, it looked like it smelled nasty. So, like, I don't know, maybe something is being held back or fished. I can't get fishing out of my head. Like, I can't shake the fact that someone's trying to, like, herd something or, like, hunt something with fishing abilities.
It's like a kind of real thing.
Floodborne.
Yeah. Because I kind of wondered if that sort of realish sort of thing was maybe like the sort of Bloodborne sort of gothic horror equivalent of like a Terminator type arm that's just bone and has got like, sort of bloody sort of horrible clockwork windings and stuff where muscles would normally be. And don't know, obviously all you can do really is speculate at it. But
are we looking at a Clockwork Man from Hellboy situation? Do you think?
I don't really remember too much of those films because I didn't enjoy them.
The best part? I'd say best part. Those films were quite good. First one was good anyway. Second one was shit. Getting off topic. I think it's going to be, I don't know, like some leggy monster. It's going to be spindly and gross. But okay. So here's the real question then. Not what's going on in the trailer. What game do you think it's for?
Well, I'll sort of interject briefly that producer Yasuhiro Kitao, who I asked a question to at the Bloodborne event a few years back, so my best mate, went on to say on Twitter, more details to follow in the next 12 months. We hope you look forward to it. I think I still think we'll get Demon's Souls at PSX. Maybe a bigger shush! I'm on topic.
I'm verbalising what the audience all just did.
Yeah, well,
groan with me. You're setting yourself up, man.
That's horrible, especially given the number of the episode. I think that we'll get a look at Demon's Souls at PSX. Maybe a bigger trailer of this.
Isn't PSX today?
It's 2 a.m. here on Saturday morning.
Okay, so it's tomorrow.
But it's today in America, which is, I don't know. I think we'd maybe get a bigger trailer reveal for Shadows Die Twice, and then maybe a gameplay reveal at E3. Because it does feel like a Christmas game, as to not like, it's Christmas, let's wheel out all the blood and gore.
Let's have some blood and guts and let's go fishing today.
My initial reaction was that this was the title of the game. there was musing on Easy Allies where they were like, has it got anything to do with Shadow Tower? Are they maybe kind of rebooting that and bringing that into the fore in the same way as, we know for definite a new Armored Core's coming, so are they looking at previous IPs and sort of trying to give them a little fondle into the regular? My idea afterwards was that this was Shadows Die Twice is kind of the Bloodborne 2 equivalent of Prepare to Die. That's going to be like the tagline.
Oh, I completely agree. Yeah,
or like the Go Beyond Death thing that was there with Dark Souls 3. That's what I think it's going to be. But I do think it's Bloodborne 2. There's obviously one of the writers of The Expanse, the novels and the TV show, has done work for From. He's admitted that. He's a big Dark Souls fan. And at the time, people speculated as to whether it was Armored Core, presumably for the sci-fi aspect, or whether it was Bloodborne 2 because of the body horror stuff that's in The Expanse as well, which is pretty much dividing that series up and going like, it could be this one or it could be this one.
Okay.
But I don't think Miyazaki's going to have written this one. I think he's going to hand it off to somebody else, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was the guys behind those novels, because they're incredibly highly regarded. And I watched the first series of The Expanse for the show and thought it was fantastic. It was really good. So I'd like that to happen. But to expand this a little bit, would you like, if it is Bloodborne 2, would you like it to be a direct sequel to the first one, or would you like it to be its own thing?
Well, I mean, the answer to this is pretty self-evident, I think. Okay, most of the internet disagree with us here, generally, from what I've seen. But, like,
I'm used to that.
What you're asking, do I want a Dark Souls 2 or a Dark Souls 3 situation? And, of course, I want a Dark Souls 2 situation. I want it to be adjacent, but I don't want it to be anywhere up in its cavities. I'd like to play more of the game, but just stay away from the lore. Like, do a different thing, make some different old gods or something. Like, don't just do the same but more, because that's, for me, was the biggest problem with Dark Souls 3. It was just derivative. It tried to sort of put lore on top of other lore, and then you've got to have sort of 2 or 3 games with the lore behind you to understand what the fuck's going on. And by that point, I tagged out. I didn't care. Like, part of my big apathy with Souls at the minute is that 3 was such a letdown for me. I just stopped caring. The lore's got to the point where I don't care anymore. And if they're going to do that with Bloodborne 2, I would like them to do it kind of adjacent to the plot, like not next to it, but like a far away. But like in terms of reception from people, is that going to elicit the same response that Dark Souls 2 got because it was so different? It might be, and everyone will say, "Oh, Bloodborne 2's the shit one." Like, I'd rather have something new. I genuinely would rather have something completely fresh and completely new at this point. I'm very much a proponent of leaving things when they're done, and I do feel like Bloodborne was done. Like, it doesn't need more. It doesn't need extra stuff. The Old Hunters DLC was great and it slotted in really well, but I don't think it needs anything else. I was happy with it finishing where it did, and I like things to die when they're finished. I don't like them to carry on as husks themselves, because then you get Dark Souls 3.
It's strange. I mean, I'll go into kind of fan service stuff in a little bit, but I the continuation lore wise in Dark Souls 3 for me seemed insincere and in many ways like resentful. And everybody knows sort of where I stand with Dark Souls 2, particularly Scholar of the First Sin. But I liked the idea that this was a world that remade itself. That after the events of the first one, that the myths and legends that were there in the previous world had been told and twisted, and they weren't particularly obvious. They played one card with Ornstein, but didn't really go back to that well at all, for better or for worse. And obviously, in NG Plus, they kind of alluded to a little bit more. What a new game plus that was, though. Jesus Christ! But the thing with Dark Souls 2 in particular was that, for better or for worse, the game was its own vision, and it's pretty obvious if you really sort of dig into Dark Souls 2's development that it was a torrid process, that it was broken, and then it was rescued, and it was put out, and then it was refined, and it took a long while to get to the state that it ended up with, and all of that's detailed in the art book as well, which is it's another fascination for me, is the way that it's found form, and but I liked that they came up with their own stuff, like life gems, and there were things that were very much Dark Souls 2, which again, to look at Dark Souls 3, were just thrown out when it came back. It almost as if, again, with kind of a kind of in its the studio's derision of Dark Souls 2, from a Dark Souls 3 perspective, which was strange. But I'd like this to be very much its own thing. Would you like it to be in the world of Bloodborne at the same time, or would you like it to be a completely different story, but with maybe or even a different setting, but with a kind of a few nods and winks to the original, or similar happenings?
Good question. I not thought about that. I think part of what makes Bloodborne quite unique is the kind of the Victorian kind of look to it all. Even when it started getting gross and spacey near the end, like, it's still got that very sort of Victorian. I don't want to say steampunk because it isn't, but you know what I mean. Top hats and mechanical stuff. Like, I think it would need to stay in a similar sort of time period or technology period, I guess. Oh, excuse me. I wouldn't like to. I don't know. I think I want to get out of Yharnam. I want to go somewhere else. I mean, maybe the place where Gascoigne came from. But then that's then adding on more links to plot stuff, and that then winds back into, like, oh, you've got to know what's going on here to know what's going on there, and all this castle, everything in the first game in a new light. I mean, part of the biggest thing that annoyed me about the links from Dark Souls 3 to Dark Souls 1 was all the Celeste stuff. He's just a guy. He's soup now. He wasn't really soup, but you know what I mean. Like, he's just a guy. Like, he's not the son of the king. Actually, this monstrous thing over here, that's the real one. Let's not care about the fan theories at all. Let's do our own thing. But I don't know. I think I want it completely separate. Like, I want it to be in Drang Lake, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, but I think, from musing on this, I'd love to see like a gothic western. Something that maybe you could still have your equivalents of your top hats and your coats and all that kind of stuff. But,
stovepipe hats.
But you could just having like a completely different setting, and nobody's really done for me that kind of like a truly gothic western in games as far as I've seen. Your Red Dead Redemptions are pretty much like your cinematic western. But I remember there was an outline for a sequel to The Crow when the film first came out, and they approached the author about ideas for a sequel, and that was going to be set in a gothic version of the Old West, with a family who were wronged, and it kind of followed them through to like the modern day, like generations of them. But the crux of it, of this family being spurned, was in a really dirty, messy, horrible version of the Wild West. And I was like, I could see the artists and designers working a Bloodborne sort of, Bloodborne Souls-ish look on a Western. And I always love when Japanese creators look at something that's very Western and do their own thing and end up making it better. Dragon's Dogma is a great example of that.
Everyone take a drink.
Yeah, and Bloodborne ties into that as well, like a Japanese version of that sort of stuff. But
Victorian stuff.
I'd be curious to see that.
I'd agree. I think that a Western, like a Wild West cowboy version would be good. I mean, because my predilection for nice coats.
True.
Also nice coats, good hats.
You could have the equivalent of, the incident in Bloodborne, which kind of which Sony wonderfully kept hidden, and was a bit of a like, really? You could truly have maybe something in the desert that that was buried or beneath the sand or had sort of fallen from the sky on a meteor or whatever you wanted it to be. There's scope there. But yeah, that would be my idea. I don't.
Ooh! And we're missing a trick here. Lasso trick weapon. Ooh.
There you go. That would be great.
It's a whip and a lasso. You can just kind of like quickly knot it, and then you can drag people. Maybe that's what the fishing rope is. I think we've got it.
I think you lost that right at the last minute.
Oh, I nearly had it. Like just
it was going so well as well. Of course, I mean, apart from sort of watching a Dave Klein playthrough of Shadow Tower, I don't really know a whole lot about it, to be honest.
No, I know nothing. I know people saying shit because the word shadow's in it. I don't know, shadow's quite a generic word. I don't know, would they go back to Shadow Tower after so long? Like, it's been a long time, isn't it?
It's not necessarily. I mean, they could obviously go all in for it, 100%. If somebody at From Software is looking at it, just going like, we could really do something with this, or there could be aspects of Shadow Tower that they maybe mix into sort of Bloodborne type gameplay. In the same way as they've always. Always had like Moonlight Greatsword, and in Dark Souls 2 the clicking on the walls was very much a King's Field thing. You could have a few bits like that, but yeah, that would. It's saying on the Wikipedia that it was a dungeon crawler in a very similar way to King's Field, but yeah, I'll have to dive into Dave's playthrough again of this. Yeah, because I think there's a few of them. There's the PlayStation one, and then there's a Shadow Tower Abyss, I think, as well.
I've heard of that. Yeah,
which was on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I think I want something new. I don't want to have baggage. Like, I think Bloodborne sang so well because it was it had no baggage. It just started and it was its own thing. Like it was its own beast and. I don't want any baggage. I want a fresh thing. I don't.
But the thing is, from a marketing point of view, is it better to go Bloodborne 2, right? In lights, Bloodborne 2. Bloodborne did really well for Sony. Did supremely well for From on their own. Was pretty much was it the first super standout title for the PlayStation 4? I
think you're forgetting Knack, but yeah, I think generally if you discount Knack, then I think you're probably right.
Is that a headline on its own, or would having a game that had got Bloodborne elements to it, and maybe people can go, oh, it's got it's really, really similar to Bloodborne in the way that Bloodborne was similar to Dark Souls, and have that being called Shadows Die Twice, and having that as a game that stands on its own. Honestly, I'd prefer that over something being called like Bloodborne 2 and, Shadows Die Twice being the version of Prepare to Die or Go Beyond Death.
I think they make more money with the words Bloodborne 2. I think artistically I prefer it the other end. I don't think Shadows Die Twice is a good name.
I think it's a fantastic name.
I think it's a bit of a mouthful.
I think you're a monkey.
I think you're wrong. I think man. You're wrong. I think that's a bit of a mouthful. Shadows Die Twice. That's too much for me.
You like Metal Gear Solid.
I'll have you know I like Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots.
That just trips off the tongue, that one.
But no, Metal Gear Solid, it's fun. But Shadows Die Twice, it doesn't feel like a title. It feels like a subtitle. It doesn't feel like... It feels too generic to be...
That's not a generic title, though. That's
Shadows
a really
Die
good...
Twice.
Nah.
Sounds like an indie game.
It sounds like a pulp novel, which
Sounds
again
like
would tie
buy it
into
on Steam.
that would tie into the sort of gothic westerny type stuff.
It sounds like one of those games you buy for $5 on Steam. That's a first-person horror game. That doesn't work.
You'd rather a sequel which was unrelated to the original, maybe bar a few mechanics, have a number 2 on it. I'm sick to death of Dark Souls 2 would probably have done better and been received better by the public if it was just called something else.
I mean, let's do away with the numbers then. Why not call it Rise of the Bloodborne?
Oh, you said Bloodborne Origins.
That's it.
Yeah. Dark Souls 2 probably wouldn't have sold better if it was called anything else.
Bloodborne Shadows. There you go.
Do you know what I mean? If somebody had been going into that and going like, oh, it's using similar mechanics to Dark Souls, and then all of a sudden do these little sort of hints and whispers and kind of ideas, people might be going like, oh my god, this is a similar world, and you've got this extra tale of publicity and people talking about it further down the line, because at that point maybe they wouldn't know, and although remembering how Bamco were with how obvious that Dark Souls 3 publicity was. Thanks, Bamco.
Chicken wing. Ugh, stupid. Yeah, I would much prefer a new game. I think we're getting Bloodborne 2. I would prefer a new game. I don't think Bloodborne needs extra stuff, but if we're going to get it, I want a Dark Souls 2.
Didn't Miyazaki say he's not interested in doing sequels to his previous games? Like, personally, he's not. Because, I mean, we've not seen the first game from his tenure as president yet. Dark Souls 3 was greenlit under the old guard. And, however his arm was twisted with regards to bringing that together, I don't know. But,
Well, as long as they don't put multi-phase boss fights in it, I'll be fine.
Be interesting to see what it is. But as much as we can only speculate about it, it's nice to have a saucy wink and know that something's coming. Because we've not, like I say, we've not even though they've told us that Armored Core is coming, we've not seen anything of that.
It's been pretty radio silence, hasn't it? Since almost since the Dark Souls 3 DLC finished, it's been pretty quiet since then, isn't it? It's been nothing.
Well, there's an Armored Core theme that's just gone up on the PlayStation Store, and I think it's there's an anniversary that's happening now. So maybe that's the thing that turns up at PSX. Although if they came with Armored Core and Demons Souls. Right, we're going to bounce on to the next thing.
Good.
Which
I can't have the Demon Souls chat anymore.
No.
Can't do it anymore.
No, it's been years. I need it.
I can't do it. Just go listen to one of the old episodes. Let's have the argument in there.
So, word sprung up on Twitter last week that the original Dark Souls would see a remaster coming to Xbox One, PS4 and Switch. PlayStation Lifestyle said, according to a now deleted tweet at an upcoming Bamco event on December 15th, a Dark Souls remaster will be announced. The tweet, originally sent out by Marcus Sellers, clearly everybody who does anything to do with Dark Souls is called Marcus, maybe.
Oh dear.
A writer for the Switch network was originally tweeted out early this morning, which was December the 5th. Sellers stated that Bamco would be hosting an event. Soon after, he tweeted that one of those games would be a Dark Souls remaster. Whether or not he was right, he quickly took down the tweet, but Seasoned Gaming, the site that picked up the information, has the screenshot of the tweet. Of course, the tweet should be taken with a huge grain of salt, especially considering the user doesn't seem to have had any other information that would make the rumour any more substantial. There hasn't been any word on a Bamco event happening soon, but Marcus did say it would occur within 2 weeks, so fans won't have to wait long to figure out if he was right or not. Do you want it?
I mean, it'll happen, won't it? I don't know. I don't think I want to play it again. I do. Well, okay. Let me. Christ, this is difficult. Again, you're getting off the cuff reactions. I've not prepared anything. Like,
why
cool.
is that? There were 68 other episodes where that's a given.
Yeah, shush. Bollocks. I I mean, cool, it's getting on the current gens. That's good. It's the best one. I think everyone getting to play it's a good thing. Does it need to exist? Don't think so.
Yeah.
But it does exist. I think people on the PS4 that only have a PS4 want to play Dark Souls 1, and it's the only thing that you can't really get, obviously, apart from Demon Souls. Let's not start that again.
Let me interject with this picture that when the Switch was first announced, From Software were on the list of developers, and everybody at that point was like, "Oh, I wonder if they're going to bring Dark Souls to not even like a remaster, but I wonder if it's going to be like the original Dark Souls." Imagine if you're on some sort of long flight to like Japan or something like that. Wouldn't you fancy, and you got the Switch, wouldn't you fancy like whiling those hours away by playing like a new version of Dark Souls?
But you have to play it offline, wouldn't you?
Not necessarily.
Would I don't know, would co-op work if you're in a plane?
I don't know. Depends if they're sitting next to you. No, probably not.
Yeah. Well, you never know. It might take off. Hey, plane, take off. Hey!
You said that on purpose then you ruined it.
Whoops. It's good that it exists. I'm not going to buy it, but...
Would you like it to completely adhere to the original, or would you like to give it a...
Shut up, stop talking. Yeah,
a proper tickle?
No. I think the only changes I would like are a Blight Town that runs at more than 3 frames a second.
Good chance of that on at least Xbox One, PS4, and Switch. Maybe not.
Well, yeah. I think I would like there to be some sort of like... I think the only thing I'd probably change would be the networking stuff from number 2 and 3, like or Bloodborne, where it's like either a thing you put on or like a password system where you could just match up with your mates. Like that would be fine, because how long did we spend? Like, I know that's part of it. I mean, that is part of what I remember making Dark Souls 1 fun, was running around Anor Londo, trying to find each other's signs, switching our weapons in and out and in and out and in and out. Like, it was good. It was good times running around in circles.
We got to know each other purely because of the time and the apathy that was spent trying to see one another's summon signs, and the joy of switching weapons and shields in and out, which seemed to make it faster.
Delicious voodoo. Delicious voodoo. Yeah, like that was part of the fun, I think. But would I want to do that again?
Nah.
God no. Like, I've done that now. I've had that experience. I don't need to do it again now.
Would you like it to be like an up-resed version of the original? Like, the PC version's very, very pretty.
Yeah.
Or would you like somebody to kind of proper crack into the look of it?
Nah, I think this is
detail it up a bit.
Nah, I think just take the PC version and pull it in. I think that's what the charm is. I think if you start remaking character models and stuff, it then takes 3 years to come out, and I don't know. I think the charm of the originals is what it looks like. It's a very definite style to it. Like, I don't think the graphics were bad at any point. Like, I think they're
no.
More
the design's still really strong. But
yeah,
I mean,
it's through. I don't think it needs extra model. Okay, so what I mean is, would I want Shadow of the Colossus HD on the PS3, or do I want this new, completely remade from the ground up version that's coming on PS4? I'll have the PS3 version, I think. I'll have the original upscaled a bit, because it'll still be the same.
Well, it's a good sort of point of contact, that one, because that was what was on my mind. I wondered if there was something similar that was going to happen here, because I'd lay money on the fact that it's not From that's doing any remaster. I think it's somebody else.
Give it Blue Point.
Well, Blue Point are working on Demon Souls, aren't they?
Oh. Everyone take a shot.
No, but
welcome to episode 69, the sad cast.
I could see happening. It'd be interesting to see what the reaction would be if it did have a different look. Then it would be more, because is the new
I can tell you what the reaction
Colossus
will be.
Considered like more of a remake than a remaster at this point.
The new one is, it's more of a remake, and the reaction to it has been generally quite apathetic from what I've seen. Like, a lot of people don't like it.
I really like the look of it, but then again, I've not played the original.
It's not your baby child, so I've played both versions of it. I've played the PS2 and PS3 versions, which are functionally the same, but one's in a higher res. I think the new one, it looks nice. I think it looks pretty. I don't understand what people are saying about the animations. I've watched it and it seems fine. It was always a bit janky, But will I buy Shadow of the Colossus a third time? No, I will not.
Okay.
Because I've played that game twice now.
It's quite cheap though, isn't it?
What, the new version?
I don't think it's going to be like a full price game.
Even then, I've got. And again, this is kind of probably going to tickle more into our other show we do about other games that aren't Souls based. But like, I've got plenty to do. Like, I don't need to replay a game I've played 100 times again with a slightly better coat of paint. Like, it's generally not that interesting to me at this point. Maybe in 6 months when I've run out of games to play, then I'll start looking at picking stuff up. But I've still got a mountain of stuff I'm playing at the moment. Like, I don't need it.
What would wow you about a Dark Souls remaster? Is there something that you would that you could see, or an inclination that you could get, which would make you go,
"Oh, like here's feature X," and I go, "Ooh."
Yeah, like whether it would be like, you know, facial capture, voice acting, or like a particular look, or something being put back into the game that was never there. Like, was it King Jareel or whatever his name was?
King Jarul.
That's something different. But yeah, because there were a few bits that were left out that never made it in there, and a few of them that seemed to, you know, go into Dark Souls 2, really, like the Spider-Man.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say no. There's nothing. Okay. I can't think of anything, and that's going to sound like a really kind of non-answer, but I can't think of anything I'd want to change to the main game as it is. Like, I think it was basically lightning in a bottle as it was. I think if you start them putting in extra content and changing it, then it kind of changes some, oh God, I don't want to say it, but lore implications, which I just... And is this just me, right? At this point, I do not care about the lore anymore. I just don't care. Like,
have they killed it?
It's dead now.
Was it Dark Souls 3?
It was probably Dark Souls 3 that did it, yeah.
Was it Miyazaki's own hand that killed his own game?
It could have been. He could have killed his own game himself. That could have been the reason. He could have done it himself to free himself.
That's true gothic horror.
The ability to take your loved thing and break it and smash it and go, no, it's done now, we're moving on. And we're probably going to catch a lot of flack for saying that.
Because a lot of people think... anyway, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I cannot think... Other than, like, password matching and maybe making it look a bit prettier, like, facial capture and voice capture, I don't need that. I don't need it. There's nothing I need or want that would say, ooh, spend another 30 quid on this. I'm just trying to think. I can't think of anything. I'm looking at games I've got on my shelf to look at things like, oh, what does that game do that could go in? And there's nothing. I mean, they could do a Destiny and, you know, lock all the content behind the DLC. That would be kind of fun.
What about... the same sort of theory on Demon Souls, which obviously was the start of all this, was the early on in From's kind of more popular cycle. Still, like, amazing design work and amazing atmosphere. Do you think that's more ripe for being given sort of a polish up? And obviously there were some systems in there like World Tendency, which had got real potential, but
never really worked.
Maybe never really sort of cracked on in the same way as they should have done. The American sort of stuff with World Tendency was done far better than the European stuff, because they were, you know, they linked very much into you know, do you want black world tendency or white world tendency for Valentine's Day? Or, you know, like we
never
really
got into that, did we? Yeah.
No, they really made it an event, and it affected, you know, if black world tendency turned up, you'd be just going through Boletarian Palace again and just cracking through and hammering into those souls. But, you know, if you got white world tendency on an area that we stuck on, you might be able to get through it. And it was almost kind of that real... the thing that we saw later with kind of games as a service, if you will, where they were really leaning into that event stuff. But we certainly never saw it in Europe. You know, I noticed it on the American copy and liked that side of things, but there were a lot of it was sort of trying to really sort of peer through it and trying to figure it out. And I can never quite get those. What shade of off white is that? Is it quite white, or it's a bit beige, or
muddy grey?
We're leaning towards coffee and cream.
Oh dear. Yeah, I never got World Tendency either. Like, maybe they could not fix it, but at least make it less obscure or obtuse. Like, even with guides, I've read guides and I don't get it, And but again, for me, maybe I'm a purist on these things, but for Demon's Souls, they're going to make God's sake, if we're going to make a remaster or a remake of it, keep it basically as is. Just make the networking work a bit better.
A password system.
Yeah, and maybe adjust some of those drop rates, because I tried to farm myself a pure sharp stone or whatever it was, and I got incredibly angry. After 2 hours, I was done.
Would you like to see them alter things like, like item weight and stuff, which was more of a problem, like the stuff that you were carrying in Demon's Souls than the other games? I think.
No, I think that's part of it. I think all of it is part of it. Like having too much shit on you, like, oh crap, I need to unload. Like, it wasn't just a matter of I've got infinite pockets. Like, you had to literally equip yourself to go out. And if they do that, if they do away with item weight stuff, then you don't need to stockpile Thomas anymore, and he's brilliant.
True. And if Demon's Souls taught us anything, it's that without the people of Scotland, you fucked if the world goes tits up.
Basically, yeah.
You see, that's some more rude things to add to the Soissons Nerf feature of the episode at Detel.
Ooh. I'm not. No. Just walking away from that. I'm washing my hands of it.
It will be interesting to see if it happens. But yeah, when a lot of this sort of came together, I was sitting back and trying to figure out where I was with Soul stuff. I guess I found Souls Burnout, not to be confused with Cart Souls, but also a game I'd like to see. Criterion, get on that.
Fuck, I'd play that.
Souls Burnout would be great. Fucking Solaire just tears past you. The Artorias car. You could still keep in like the EA DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like a really good
wait, do you mean DJ Atomica?
I don't remember his name.
That was his name.
Was that lad from Burnout 3?
Yeah.
Oh, such a great game. You know something, if that, I'd imagine there are problems with licensing the soundtrack, but if that ever came to like original Xbox backward compatibility, I'd just be over the moon. What a game it was.
If you made a Souls racing game and burn it, you could call it Prepare to Crash.
I've seen what you're doing there. There's probably more leeway in this. So if you can think of a great title for a Souls Burnout game, then bring it. Send it to us on the twits or on the emails, as they call it. But
we're going to sit here and try and be interesting while also thinking of things. No.
Yeah, we'll do that in the aftermath. Save that for the next episode. So yeah, it's been a strange year in terms of Souls for me. It's been a huge part of my life, an important part of my life for such a long time that Burnout was perhaps inevitable, but it did take me by surprise the way that it happened. As we spoke about earlier, I think a lot of it can be attributed to Dark Souls 3.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Souls 2 was a fine game. It entertained me for certain, but there was so much that didn't sit with me at the time, and the more time drifted on, the echoes became less and less palatable. I think it was this essence that From could do no wrong, and in many ways I may have been more attuned to that given the relationship I'd had with Dark Souls 2. The original DS2 had entertained, but I grew into it slowly, came to admire it for being its own thing. Hardly perfect, certainly, but there was something there I couldn't quite figure out as time went on. This blissful enigma, much like Dark Souls, like Demon's Souls, but again, very much its own thing. That deepened further still when Scholar of the First Sin released, where life, particularly something that deeply affected me, which I struggled to rationalise with in the aftermath, just plain glued onto the game. I went back and forth between its world and this one, traded steps of progression and uncertainty with anxiety and befuddlement. That story became downright important to me. The DLC grew into something wonderful and awe-inspiring. When Dark Souls 3 was announced, I was on the defence force, curious to know where it would go of its own accord, curious to know how the return of the all-conquering Hidetaka Miyazaki would factor into all of it. At this point, it seemed like most of those who were wary of the game matched up with those who disliked Dark Souls 2. Hadn't bothered with Scholar and had fell in love with Bloodborne, a game I'd not clicked with then.
I remember those days well.
I remember, yeah, we sort of drifted onto not sort of aggressive sides, but we were both.
It was the Divi era, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. You with the Divi, we with Dark Souls 2. I was the proper one with my Bloodborne.
Hey, Bloodborne.
Yeah, Bloodborne. But yeah, we ended up sort of veering off into different sides. It had a good time for the poddy, I think. Really good time. But I know there was a bemusement from your side that I didn't get Bloodborne. I mean, through no fault of its own, other than that bond with Scholar happened in the immediate during the Blooders launch. Being
I know what it is. It's because you're a contrary piece of shit.
This is true. This is very much. It fell into one of those games CJ likes that nobody else does.
Oh, he's going to tell us about Dragon's Dogma again. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Take a shot. But yeah, I was at that time. I was sort of self-aware of this. It's not you, it's me syndrome, and that the game would find its moment, and it did. Dark Souls 3 I was all in for, avoiding all of Bamco's garbage spoilerific marketing, but down for the special edition with the statue. You bought me the Xbox One Steelbook version, you beauty.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah. And this, the release was a reward for operation on my back, which was terrifying me at that point. But yeah, if I'd had the money and I'd been in that half an hour window where it was available, I'd been all in for that £300 plus Uber statue edition, like a twat. I was just excited at that point. But what Dark Souls 3 did, veered into this sort of strange middle ground and then off somewhere else. It was neither its own thing or something truly connected, but somewhere in between both. This kind of, well, this could have happened sequel where all the games were down to our own choices anyway. The Artorias connections just seemed all the more poor, vile as the time went on. The legend of Solaire, as you alluded to earlier, was not only muddied but trodden into the ground, and that just came across as spiteful more than anything. Or that thing that you've got on your t-shirts that you really like, yeah, enjoy that.
Your suit now.
There was that aspect of maybe Ornstein decided to leave the chapel, and did he turn to armour? Then we fought the armour. I don't remember. And,
there's 4 of them now, isn't there?
And hashtag not my onion, bro.
Ooh.
I like fan service when it's done right. It's an easy thing to get wrong. There was that early episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it's probably the only one that I saw where it was all like, hey, remember that hammer we found? Where they were just like, they might as well just lean into the camera and just like, yeah.
Wink, wink. Look, man, it's the thing.
I hate that kind of fan service.
God, fucking hate nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
But Souls celebrated its own connections in the past and did it well. I mean, particularly when going towards Manus's lair, finding that little hidden cave and...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I like Tokusatsu. I love their crossovers. A character from 1987 can turn up and I'm like, no. Or seeing 2 characters meet that previously hadn't, that sort of thing. In an old show, I mentioned how cool it would be to have like the return of Artorias in the final battle, to have Solaire like as that summoned when all seemed lost, where it turned out that maybe he was the son of Gwen, and stages of the enemy weakening, something trying to break through. We hear Artorias' voice for the first time beyond that scream. And then the break of the battle, the barrier that follows, give us that final battle which is ballet, which is shiver-inducing spectacle. Make it memorable. Make it this culmination of all that we've seen, all that we've been, and of how far we've come, I guess. Just give us this culmination, this wonderful climax. But that just wasn't there. It just seemed like this strange place in between.
The few illusions we got were like in the DLC for 3. The giant wolf fight, and that was just a pale imitation, wasn't it? It was like, oh, remember you like your giant wolf fights? Here's one.
Yeah, I mean, DS3, to be fair, did do boss battles really well. Possibly the best of the series.
That's debatable. I think they did boss battles well when they had one health bar, and the health bars weren't the size of like Japan.
What was the boss battle with the where there were all the flowers in the arena and all the sort of Artorias people that were continually fighting, and the whole
do you
thing
mean
was
the
just like,
Abyss Watchers?
Yeah,
that was good. Okay, yeah, that was
beautiful.
A good fight. I enjoyed that fight because that had like 3 fun, distinct stages. That was good. But like as it went on, the later and later bosses, like particularly the DLC ones, like here's 9
DLC
health
ones,
bars.
yeah.
Here you go. Enjoy this. We're just going to keep going and going on. And right? So if they'd have, I agree that bringing back your Artorias or your Solaires for the end, even an Onion Bro at the end for like the final fight would have been fun. But here's what they would have done, right? It would have been like you'd hear a big roar and a wolf monster would turn up. And you'd fight alongside it, and it would die, and then you'd pick up the Artorias sword at the end, like, oh, that was Artorias, he's a wolf now. Like, that's what they would have done. That is what they would have done, no question, and that would have been shit. Would have been shit. Yeah. I would have hated it.
I would have liked something. I know, we're on a distinctly different side to a lot of other folks that didn't want that from the start to have any feature in Dark Souls 3, but I quite like that stuff. But yeah, I mean, if anything with DS3, it did lead me to Bloodborne. Sort of straight after I got Blooders at that point, I clicked with it and just devoured it. At that point, I got to It's probably not. What's the big church thing called?
There's a few.
The one towards the end where I remember a battle on a roof where something absolutely battered me.
Ligarius.
Bless you.
Are you in the... Was it like a snowy castle?
Yes, it was great.
That's Ligarius, yeah. That's Canehurst, yeah. That was... Oh, that's good shit.
That was really good. That's kind of where I left it. And I think I did leave it to go on to the Dark Souls 3 DLC, which, as we know, was Pump. It was... Well, I think there was that inclination at that point that like, From never disappoint you with DLC, and we were treading water. I mean, the second part I initially enjoyed but lost my way with. I think I may have veered off towards Neo at that point, which I enjoyed much more than DS3, much more than most people, I think. But eventually left that alone as well. So the fire died.
Do I need to insert some music there, or should we just...
No, we can go on.
Okay, that's good.
Dramatic pause.
Envision music, everyone.
Dead air. So in the aftermath of it, I've avoided...
I'm not cutting any of that.
Yeah, don't. So in the aftermath, I've avoided just loads of stuff. Lore, teas, vinyl, books, podcasts, everything. I felt as though I had to put it... over there!
Oh, Christ.
My favourite Souls... Over there!
Okay.
Is that dramatic enough?
That's pretty good, yeah.
Okay.
Master of Foley.
So my favourite Souls streamers were either playing other stuff or disappeared entirely. From Software disappeared entirely. I watched The Expanse, knowing that one of the original authors had been working for From on something, as we discussed earlier. But what's changed recently is interesting.
Okay.
In the immediate, work's been daft. My old store closed at the end of July, and thankfully I was only out of work for 4 days. The current place is, at best, one step away from a crisis, most often in it, and currently absolutely mired in it. Last week I did 64 hours in the space of a week, culminating in a 14-hour shift the day before my birthday. And I knew I was tired, but in the holiday I had afterwards, I didn't realise how exhausted I was. It was one of those where I kind of dragged myself around on my birthday to go into Nottingham, go to a coffee shop, have a mooch around, but I was dead to the world. And even in the days afterwards, it felt like my body finally had room to sigh a little bit. That meant not really being in the mood to be taxed by games. I barely went on anything, just sort of the odd movie. Then the Demon Souls servers was shutting down, and that kind of hit home a bit with a degree of sadness, and that I've been wishing on that remaster for many a year now without even the whiff of it happening. Maybe tomorrow. Don't know. Right, so then then Epic Name Bro put out a little vid saying that all of these companies, Sony, Atlas and Bamco, shutting their servers off on the same day. That doesn't happen. Not without reason. That caused a little spark in my heart.
Oh.
Nothing obvious like, that picture like, I am no longer friends with such and such. I am back with souls. But looking back, maybe something subtle yet tinsel based. I ended up looking at Dark Souls 2 Twitch options. The other night I found an outstanding streamer called Cat, by the way. Pleasure to be there, great folks in chat. There may or may not have been a lot of coffee talk in that chat. I can neither confirm or deny it.
You're not selling me. I mean...
No. But I not only enjoyed being around those people, but it was nice to see the game again. I woke up the next morning, and our friend Christian, I Love Jessica Biel, had taken a break from the I can't say it.
That one where everyone wants to fuck. Fan watch game.
He was back in Skull Over the First Sin, invading people, playing phenomenal pop music, and I kind of missed hanging out there. I've been back on Cat's Twitch in the last few days again. I really hope to have them on the show. They're a very cool person, and there's a lot to be said there, I think. But I shan't spoil that episode. But yeah, there's some cool stuff ahead, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it just felt like I got a little way back. Curiosity is in there, rising even. Sort of see what that goes. Oh, and you ordered a book.
A book? What book?
A book. Right, so...
oh, wait, hang on, okay. This is the book that I knew nothing about until you told me about it earlier today.
So, Dark Souls Beyond the Grave Volume 1. Came out in September, apparently. A 304-page hardcover covering the entire lore of Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2. And apparently a year-long labour of love for writers Damien Mecchieri and Sylvain Romieu, with an intro by Varty. The tip of the hat came from listener Tuka Stephenson, who emailed to say, I picked it up a few weeks ago and must say that it's fantastic. The book itself is gorgeous and it's tremendously written, especially the lore sections, which are very detailed, yet do not make wild assertions to ensure everything in the game is elucidated. I would heartily recommend it. So the book arrived this morning. It's very pretty indeed. Beautiful little thing. Hardcover as well. So I'm looking forward to tucking into that, and I'll share thoughts on a future episode. It's about time I picked up that Bloodborne artworks as well, but it appears to have shot back up to £35 before Christmas, so I might have to kind of...
So nah, mate.
With regards to the gentleman who tipped the hat, Tuka is the designer, artist and animator on a PC game called Tormentor Cross Punisher, which looks fab, so please throw in both your support and your money. So there we go.
Well, cool. Okay. So yeah, this book, is it just lore then, or is it like the You Died book where it was kind of, there was some community stuff there as well, and there was some lore and because.
Let me get it because it's in my bag because it arrived this morning.
Oh, okay. Are you going to read it all out? Because I mean, I've got other things to do.
No, this can be a really long podcast.
Shit.
1 minute.
So I brought no planning, and CJ brought an actual novel.
Foley!
Okay, I think he's rustling.
Oh, the Humanities Crunch Bag 2017
coming
soon.
Don't give it away.
It me, with headphones on.
So, as I alluded to, you may not have heard. So, once again, I've bought no planning. You've bought an entire novel. I mean, that's just us in a nutshell, isn't it?
See what it says on the back.
What does it say? What's the blurb?
Familiar message for seasoned players who roamed the kingdoms of Boletaria, Lordran and Drangleic. Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 and 2. Known for their difficulty, the series is clearly not for everyone. Contrary to popular belief, however, it's not the game's merciless difficulty that puts off more timid players. It's true that surviving in these games is not an easy task, but anyone can succeed with enough perseverance, patience, and diligence. In truth, the serious difficulty comes more from the confidence it places in its players. We can only discover the true scope and beauty of these games by investing ourselves fully, in a way that reflects our tastes and expectations. The Souls games have often fallen victim to misunderstanding, but they offer much more than a challenging ordeal that's supposedly reserved only for the boldest of players. That's precisely what this work aims to show through a detailed presentation and meticulous analysis of these abundant works. From their rich universe and intensely smart gameplay to their exceptional artwork, the Souls games derive their excellence from the alchemy that binds these elements. They remind us that video games, through interaction between game and players, can bring intense and memorable experiences to life. It doesn't really say a lot, does it? That was me struggling to read it in fading winter afternoon light and very, very tiny back print. So let's just have a brief look.
So I mean, maybe so not to be Captain Negative Pants, because I do realise that I am coming off as Captain Negative Pants this episode.
Don't neg this, because
I'm not negging it.
I'm flicking through it, and it's fucking beautiful.
I'm sure it is. But as a man at this point who, I mean, you've maybe got your hook back in again. Maybe that's what that winch was from the GIF. It's just the hooking you back in. You found your way in again. I haven't, because I'm I'm still in my kind of Souls funk right now. I'm lacking caring. Obviously, you haven't read it yet, so I'm not going to ask you a stupid question like, "Hey, why should I buy this book?" Because you haven't read it yet.
That'll be the next time I go into it.
I mean, let's just lay it out. I managed to make it about quarter of the way into You Died, I think, and then just couldn't read anymore. I'm done. I was finished. I couldn't read anymore. I know it all. I don't know it all, but I know enough to know that I don't need to read it all again. I would like to hear what's new. Not necessarily what's new here, but how it's presented in a way that would make it fresh again. Because I need my in again. I need to get back to my One Bro Run of all things as well. I've just haven't had the energy for it.
It seems to, from flicking through it. I mean, there's a large introduction here, but it seems to be going into details about Miyazaki, about various bits of development, then going into this is for the individual games as well, going into areas and weapons and building the world, and it seems to be like the scope of it seems to be fantastic. And it honestly, obviously through like a just sort of briefly flicking through it looks wonderful. It's I kind of want to really run through this because it seems to be in the best will in the world, kind of all over the place. It seems to be touching loads of stuff. But I'll give a more detailed appraisal sort of later. But it makes me want to read it a huge amount. So it was £20. Which for a 304-page hardcover is pretty decent.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No.
Yeah.
So it's a nice piece of kit, but I expected it to just go through like quite a hardcore run of like the areas and the weapons. Or this is the lore. That sounded a bit Judge Dredd, didn't it?
This is an Orlando.
Yeah, this is the lore sounds like Namco Bandai trying to do a T-shirt of Judge Dredd.
But it's a Solaire helm, but in a Judge Dredd kind of style.
But yeah, it looks like.
Actually, I'd have that T-shirt. I know I don't like QWERTY mashup T-shirts. I'd actually have that T-shirt.
You sod.
I'm a sod.
But it looks really good.
Okay.
But I'll
Where can you buy it? Where can you buy it? Can you buy it from shops, or do you have to go on Amazon?
Amazon UK currently out of stock of it. I got it through Waterstones and had it sent to a local store and picked it up there this morning.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks really good, and it looks very heavily researched as well with regards to development stuff and history of Miyazaki and From Software and I'm curious to delve into that. It looks like a bit of a beaut.
Interesting. Sounds like a bit of a different angle than the usual kind of lore throughs because I can't watch another 3-hour video about lore. But I could sit and read a chapter about what Miyazaki did before these games. I could read that, certainly. I could sit and read a chapter about the team, about how the process was done. I could certainly read that. I don't think I need to know any more about the actual world anymore, because I know enough, but that sounds more interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to sort of see the individual aspects, but it looks wonderful. And it seems to be a lot of it seems to be based on a particular kind of opinion, and the author's got their mark on it. So I mean, like here, there's a bit about art direction for Demon Souls, and it says Demon Souls leaves a mark on those who play it, and this is clearly not just because of its rich and challenging gameplay. The exceptional work on the atmosphere and appearance helped make it a profound accomplishment with a strong identity. Although some hold enriched negative opinions about the quality of their games, one must admit that the From Software teams have always boasted talented artists. Their creations respect the codes of dark fantasy and horror, from Kingsfield to Shadow Tower Abyss and the medieval horror Quan. Dark, macabre and captivating universe are their trademark, and they put their wealth of inspiration to work on Demon Souls, which took advantage of the PlayStation 3's technical possibilities to faithfully bring to life the concept art that shaped the game's universe. Although Hidetaka Miyazaki was fully determined to invent and control every element of his work, he still adopted an interesting art direction process. Rather than providing specific and detailed instructions to the painters and designers, he preferred to spark their creativity using keywords or concepts such as chaos or darkness. He still cast a critical eye on the final rendering, ensuring that his artists created elegant and refined concept art in spite of the morbid aesthetic. For example, the Adjudicator, a boss players meet in the Shrine of Storms, was created by blending gods from various tribal religions to produce a chaotic and grotesque effect.
Ooh.
The artists found themselves free to express their creativity and sensibility, but within a demanding conceptual framework. While many of Demon Souls' landscapes evoke romantic paintings from the 19th century, many of its elements, design, creatures, weapons and armour, explicitly reference Kitaro Miura's manga Berserk. Miyazaki also cited another major inspiration, Frank Frazetta, one of the most famous and influential American illustrators in fantasy and science fiction. In particular, he's known for his vision of Conan the Barbarian, or for illustrating the works of Edgar Rice Burroughs. The deeply detailed atmospheres in his illustrations has influenced a good number of artists, and Miyazaki wished to emulate this strength of expressiveness in Demon Souls. The creative director also took pride in ensuring that his process was consistent. This is why, in order to stick closely to the Western inspirations of the game's universe, Demon Souls is dubbed in English, even in the Japanese version. Moreover, language aficionados have probably noticed that most of the voice actors have Scottish accents. The Sony localization team was responsible for adding this touch, echoing Miyazaki's desire for a medieval-sounding language. In general, sound was one of the elements that retained the creative director's attention the most. He was aware that the sound would have a considerable impact on the player's experience, and made sure to strike the ideal balance between Yui Takenouchi's bewitching sound design and the funereal and disturbing compositions from Shunsuke Kida. This led to the meticulous combination of silence and music, a perfect alchemy. So you see what I mean? It's like, it's engaging. It's nice. I like that. It draws me in further. So that's just like a little bit, but yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into that. That's engaging and well written.
I was just enjoying you reading that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
Like bedtime stories with souls. But you see what I mean, though. Rather than it comes across as somewhat of a labour of love. I think that's written passionately.
It sounds like it's not written in lore voice.
Yeah, true. I asked a question.
This was quite a fun timed question, wasn't it, given what happened a day later?
It was quite bizarre also in the fact that I think the day before we'd asked about Warframe, which has normally gone quite well for us since we've done it, and the response was,
yeah.
I don't know if we just put it out at the wrong time or I've got
3 a.m. is not the best time to ask questions, is it?
Cover for me, I've got spit on my mouth.
Oh my goodness me!
It is spit.
Just spit.
Soissons neuf.
Soissons neuf.
I can't reach a cloth.
Do you know what? I'm not even gonna cover. I'm just gonna let you talk.
Right.
I'm not. I can't. I won't do it.
It's fine. We'll get rid of that in the.
Rub it off.
What's that? Cut silence thing that everybody uses, but us.
Truncate silence where everyone talks.
That's the one.
Stop it.
Anyway,
podcasts, please stop it.
Ask the question.
What was the question?
Would you rather have new Demon Souls, be it remaster or sequel, a remaster of Dark Souls, PS4, One or Switch, or a sequel to Bloodborne? What inspires your choices?
And you could tell this was a you question because my answer would have been none of the above.
Well, you could tell it was me. Well, it would have been more obvious if it was me, if there was a mention of coffee in it.
And it was the Twin Humanities account, which I don't tend to go on.
Ever.
Seeing behind the curtain. Well, you're so good at it.
Sorry, just having a cup of coffee. Anyway.
Classic CJ.
Oh, he's so classic.
He's having a cup of coffee, is he?
He's having a cup of coffee. That's so CJ. The first response was from former guest on the show and supremely talented video game designer and writer and all-round lovely gentleman, Stephen Rhodes.
Oh, hi, Steve.
Said, oh, hi. That's not how he speaks, but I was just trying to...
He's in Canada now.
He is. What's that about?
Very good.
His good lady Ellie has found herself saying that now after saying that Canadians didn't ever say
She's
that.
been there like a week.
Yeah. Anyway, Stephen said Bloodborne 2 because whilst revisiting old games can be fun, I'm always more interested in new content I haven't seen before. You see, that's that interesting line of would Bloodborne 2 be connected or not?
Do it Dark Souls. Yeah, again, like, I mean, my feelings are pretty clear. Do a Dark Souls 2 if you're going to do it. But preferably don't do it. But yeah, anyway. I agree.
So, I did say to him, would it need to be Miyazaki? And asked if he'd watched The Expanse with those sort of rumours and connections. Stephen said, I haven't seen The Expanse yet, but it's on my list of things I need to. I don't know if it would have to be Miyazaki so long as it stays tonally similar to Bloodborne.
Bloodborne 2, directed by Yui Tanimura, the one that everyone hates.
Honestly, everybody would be like, CJ, you willed this into the world. And I'm like, yeah. And then it'd be really good. And people are like, oh, maybe we need to take another look. Or there'd be like a Polygon article going like, maybe it's time to take another look at Scholar of the First Sin. Yeah, and I'd be sitting in a corner just going like, don't mind me, just eating grapes.
Sitting on your throne of smug.
Just eating grapes. Let me see. Sentinel Plus, who's currently going under Gobsmacked Hound. We haven't covered that comic.
Oh, fuck, we need to, don't we? Oh, fuck.
We can do that on the next one.
Oh, I want to talk about it now, though.
And he's got a picture of a Gobsmacked Hound as his Twitter pic. But he says something that cues close to demons, or at least leans harder on the unease and sense of dread that it was closed then. I then said that atmosphere and design of Demon Souls is still crazy special, because I do think it's like super unsettling. And, you know, they were saying that it's an aspect I wish had been built on in Souls. So yes, we shall see on that front.
I mean, what worse noise is there than the ting?
Said it before, but my friend had an iPhone, and that was their text tone. And I remember us waiting to go on stage at a gig, and somebody texted, and that noise went off, and my brain just instantly like panicked, and I was like, wasn't even like a conscious thing. It was like, oh my god. So it would have been even funnier if we were supporting a band called Octopus Men or something, but we won't. My musical days back in my dim and distant past. Colby Porter says Demon Souls remake. Really well made, but technical issues stopped it from becoming what it could be. Better multiplayer would be nice too.
Again, like fixing the multiplayer stuff, like make it just let us use passwords. We only want to play with our friends.
Nicarilla, who goes under an actual gorilla and has a picture of Donkey Kong.
Okay.
Sequel to Bloodborne. Remasters and ports can be okay, and I'm starting to make peace with their place in gaming, but a new game is always the better option. Brad Galloway says, I feel like the series needs to take a long break because frankly it felt like it really ran out of steam, but I think due to its now classic status, remasters of Demons and Dark are warranted.
Okay.
Bobby Eat the Rich Hunter says, I would rather have a sequel to Bloodborne. I like the gothic Lovecraftian aesthetic. I would like to see what they do next with the attack to heal yourself mechanic. Do you prefer that than your regular standard Souls type attacking?
Give me life gems. I think life gems are my favourite. I think life gems are actually my favourite, and that's pretty heresy.
No, throw those in the bin. They worked, but throw them in the bin.
They were too good. Let's give the bosses more health and give you less health. Take your life gems away. I think life gems were the best they've been. I think the Bloodborne's way of doing it was pretty good as well, with the whole, attack to get back thing. But there were some enemies that were designed to make that not work. Like when you get poisoned and knocked down and you can't do shit about it. Like, or grab attacks. Like you can't do nothing. It's a grab attack. Like you just there you go, health gone. But yeah, life gems were great because they were like slow and rubbish. But
well, yeah, you got the differential between like popping a life gem and it kind of then being like a.
Yeah.
Or you could like chug down an Estus and be like, but you needed time to do the Estus. Plus, I quite liked walking around and popping a life gem. There was something like, right, look at this, looks like an apple, bang. Just like holding like a to be or not to be, that's the question. Like holding it out like a rich fruity skull of life.
Bang!
Yeah.
I quite liked eating them to stave off poison. It's like, I'm not going to use any moss. I'm just going to life gem my way through this shit and just balance it out with healing.
Life gems were great.
You just see your health bar just wiggle. Like, just pop another life gem, and we're through it. Like, it's the only way I got through the poison areas. Like, I'm not using moss. That's expensive. Life gems cost like 100 soul. That's nothing.
Do you not think that
Give me a
life gems lessened the importance of Estus flasks?
Nah. Well,
me neither.
It made Estus flasks. I mean, Estus flasks then became like, like when you're playing a shooter and they give you the rockets and you're like, I'll save them for later. I might need them. And then you're at the final boss and you've got 80 rockets and you're like, I might need them. Like, you don't want to shoot. But like, I would literally stock up, like, every spare bit of souls I had in Dark Souls 2 was spent on life gems. Every goddamn spare penny. I used to spend fire bombs and life gems because they were hilarious. Because nothing funnier than hucking a firebomb at someone.
But you still had that point where it was like, I've got time to use a life gem, or I've got no time at all, I need to Estus.
Big boy heal. Yeah, and I mean, on my hotbar, I used to keep just Estus and life gems, like, unless there was something specific I needed to do. Like, Estus and life gems was all I ever needed. Who's going to use a divine blessing? Come on now. Yeah. Come on, who's ever used one of those? What psychopath really has ever used that?
And I'd love to know the conversation that planed them out of Dark Souls 3 in the same way as they shafted poison arrows and arrows in general in Dark Souls 3 and just loads of stuff. I mean, they really... I always got the impression in Demon Souls and Dark Souls that any way forward was valid. You could be a mage, or you could do a strength build, or you could do a dex build, or you could be like an arrow guy, or it just seemed like there were loads of options. And further down the line, when it got into Dark Souls 3, it just seemed like, magic can fuck off. And
do a strength build.
Pyro can fuck off.
Oh god, Pyro got ruined, didn't it?
Yeah, and just why take those options away? I quite like the fact that there was all kinds of everything that could be valid.
And everything worked.
So, let me see. Justin Snyder says, Demon Souls and Dark Souls have a special place in my heart, but Bloodborne is my favourite Souls game, so I'd go for that sequel before anything else. The thing that I like about this tweet in particular is that Justin groups all of those into Souls games rather than using that bollocks Soulsborne term, which is just needs to be set on fire and just left to burn, and then a hole dug and it buried forever. That's probably where Manus came from. Somebody mentioning the term Soulsborne, and a sort of distant relative of mine from years past, from different generations, from a different timeline, punched them in the face and threw them in the sea. I don't like that term.
It's bad, isn't it? What could we call them? Like frommies?
It's just Souls games. It's fine.
Frommies.
Frimframmers. Fizzy Whizzlers.
Wolfram.
John Gamble says, would it be out of the question to get DS1 Remaster and Bloodborne 2? DS1 Remaster wouldn't take a massive amount of time, I imagine. Right. To which I told him, Gamble, would you like cake or pie? To which he would reply, I would like cakey pie. So he was trying to have his cake and eat it with some pie.
Is that what we call them? Cakey pie games?
Cakey pies, yeah. Cake and pie, cakey pie.
Cakey pie.
Mind you, if you're doing cakey pie, it's leaning a bit towards that JML term that I hate. I don't know. Let's move on.
You love the JML term. You would make a JML advert for cakey pie in a heartbeat.
Well, Soulsborne always seems like a JML thing anyway. JML, to those that in Forest Lands that don't get JML are kind of a company like, do you like Dark Souls? Do you like Bloodborne? Then you'll love Soulsborne. They kind of just get like two things and then make it into a one thing. And there's two versions of their adverts where it's like somebody'll, there's that version, and then somebody will go, oh no, if only I could get a term or something like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but it was one thing. That'll never happen. Well, think again. and then he launches into it again. So it's either, well, now you can, or, well, think again. So yeah. Let me see.
Order now and we'll give you Lord to the Fallen for free.
No, you see, that's a different thing. That's like those infomercials where it's like, you can't buy such and such in the shops, but order now and get 3 bottles of orange cleaner. Absolutely 3. And this handy brush. An actual gorilla goes on to say, I think there's an excellent case to be made for a new IP. Yeah. Also, ordering Volume 1 gets you Volume 2, 3, 4 and 5. And this handy slipcase. And a shelf to put it on.
Moving on.
And a house. With a shed. An actual gorilla goes on to say, I think there's an excellent case to be made for a new IP, but I think there's a lot to like left in the Soulsborne game. It's left in the Souls games.
Cakey pie games.
Absolutely phenomenal brand quality too. Still a new IP, especially with a fresh new direction, would be interesting to see. Sean O'Brien, Zero Signal from the mighty, powerful Kanan Rince says, Demons, good lad, gives more people a chance to experience it. Since it seems to be the one of the least... I'll put my teeth in.
Try again.
Demons gives more people a chance to experience it, since it seems to be the least played of the series. Agreed, sir. Wise and powerful. Josh Snow says, wants all of them. Wants all of them.
I suppose that's a valid answer.
Yeah, well played, Josh.
We asked you to choose.
Yeah. So that wasn't just cakey pie. That was cakey pie, biscuit.
Ice cream.
Tunlix tea cake.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Meringue.
Let me see.
Josh wants a buffet table.
Calm ICC does not get paid enough for this on Twitter. Said,
Was that its name? Or just a general?
I like it anyway. I would vote for Bloodborne because it's the only one I've played and I like its aesthetic the best. I might have mentioned that again. I really shouldn't jump into comments that I've spoken to in individual comments. Doesn't make sense. Moving on. Let me see. John Gamble said, let me see. because I just said that he wanted a sequel to Bloodborne when he mentioned Cakey Pie, and he said, I really don't like what they started doing with boss health in that game. So much damn health. Oh yeah, I discussed wanting Bloodborne 2 on Degas podcast. And then he starts talking about somebody called Jeremy Greer.
Oh.
The worst.
Truly one of the worst humans I know.
If only there was a section like that in the book.
That's it. Oh,
yeah.
Does this new book have a section on how Jeremy sucks? Because that is my favourite. That is the best chapter in You Died. No question. The chapter about how Jeremy is a shithead. Love you, Jeremy.
Let me see. My Sinclair says, I am sold with the Switch Armoured Core if that comes to be. So not just Cakey Pie or Cakey Pie biscuit, ice cream, Tunnock's tea cake, but a pizza.
Maybe.
James Carter from the wise and powerful, the all-knowing Kane and Rince. It says, Demons, it's getting on for 10 years old, plus no compatibility with current gen. It's time.
Is it time, though?
It is time.
I don't think it is.
I think it is.
I feel like we're going to have this conversation for the rest of our lives.
Check your watch. I don't know.
I'm going to leave.
Right, let's have a look further down the line.
What else we got?
Nick Darksign said Dark Souls remaster out of those choices. Reasoning From would probably have very little to do with it, and it would most likely be a blue point. Shadow of the Colossus situation, so their time and resources would still be available for making new IP, which I want the most of all.
Yeah, and if you're going to let anyone remaster your game, give it blue point.
Sequel to Demon Souls, says JMH 1373. It feels like the universe we know the least about, and is the world I'd like to see a new story from. Good point. I'm seeing a lovely theme here. Maybe tomorrow.
Oh. Everyone take a shot.
At Lewis Phil on Twitter says, Demon's availability would be good. Can't see sequel happening, but I'd take another Bloodborne. It deserves a second go. Tom Bell says, I would love a Demon Souls sequel. Not a fan service sequel like DS3, but a fresh sequel with new characters, enemies, bosses, etc. But the same foreboding atmosphere. See, wise.
Atmosphere sequels, they're better.
God, Demon's atmosphere, man. It's still super. And also, all those individual zones in Demons very much felt like their own thing. They weren't just a kind of different, in inverted commas, sort of level. They weren't just a different look on the same sort of mechanics. Everything had its own unique feeling, I guess. So, let me see. Just climb a little higher. Oh yeah, I was saying to Tom Bell that a lot of Dark Souls 3 almost seemed like particularly early on, like maybe a sequel to Demon Souls that we didn't get, with like Firelink feeling very Nexus, and the opening level, and particularly those knights feeling a little bit Boletarian Palace, and Tom said it's not something I considered thinking about. I do believe Gundyr would have been a great fit for a Demon Souls boss.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. Let me see. Spencer Saunders says, I'm fine with them leaving Bloodborne alone, but would also like a Dark Souls remaster, if only for the trophies.
That's controversial. Just for trophies? I can't go back there, man. I was there once. I can't do trophies anymore. I can't.
Our good friend Morbid Beard said I'd take a remaster of Demon Souls, as I'm yet to play it, and that would, with any luck, have a similar server system as the current ones, which are due to be shut down soon. Dark Souls remaster would be scrumptious. Hell, I'd even take another FromSoft stab at Tenchu. The news that the servers are being shut down did kind of come out of the blue, and FromSoft are always one to play their cards close to their chest, so if there is a storm brewing in their camp, I'd say all bets are off. Benj Galanchi, who's 50-volt Phantom on Twitter, says, new Demons. Loved Bloodborne's atmosphere and story, but preferred the slower pace and stronger RPG elements of Demon's Souls. All of these people are just beautiful people. Some of them, it's the first time they're kind of chipping into an episode, but it feels like they're all really, really rich, wonderful people. Global Mega Dude, Booklord, says probably Demon's Souls remaster. As much as I prefer Dark Souls, Demons is a more intriguing game that badly needs exposure to a wider audience.
Demons is definitely winning this poll, isn't it?
It's coming across.
Yeah, it's the one that no one's played because it was on the PS3 when nobody had a PS3.
I hadn't quite appreciated just how much until I'm rolling through these now.
If everyone's taking a shot when you mention Demon's Souls, everyone's fucked.
Adam Harvey, who's at Cousin Walter on Twitter, says, I prefer a Bloodborne sequel, would play a HD remaster of Dark Souls. Fergzilla says, I think we're due a Demon's Souls sequel. Wouldn't want them to rush a Bloodborne sequel. A Dark Souls sequel would be appreciated, but not essential. Our good friend Martin Charlton said a sequel to Bloodborne would be actual new content. A Dark Souls remaster would just be stuff we've seen before. So, either, really. Sino Weevil on Twitter, or who's got the handle Bloodborne 2 or I Riot. Funnily enough, says Bloodborne 2, Demons remaster, Dark remaster, in that order. I got into Souls with Bloodborne and have never played Demons, which pains me massively. Because there are folks that won't have the PS3 anywhere near their telly anymore. Folks that maybe have never owned a PS3. They went from, say, 360 to PS4 and stuff. So, let me see. Young Hemingway, Adam Holy Moses, says, sequel to Bloodborne, New Demons second. I feel like Dark Souls is amazing as it is, and a slicker experience wouldn't make it better. A version of 1 that played as 3 would be like a Daft Punk cover of Joy Division. Good, but not the original. I like that analogy.
That's a good analogy.
Well played, sir.
Ooh.
You get the wise and powerful badge that we are giving out, mainly to people from Kane and Rince and friends.
Anyone who says Demon's Souls.
Yeah, I'm that cheap. Stanshall says you can play Demons via Japanese PS Now, just for the benefit of anyone reading this who doesn't already know that. It's in Japanese, obviously, but runs perfectly decently. Isn't it on the American and European ones as well?
On the Now? I don't think it is.
Isn't it?
No. We'd know about it, wouldn't we?
I don't know. Poxy, pathetic service anyway. He goes on to, that was a bit of Xbox leaning there. Stan Shaw goes on to say, I'd love a Bloodborne sequel in the vein of Dark Souls 2, i.e. a snapshot along the continuum of the original game with weird, refreshing mechanics and a more varied patchwork aesthetic. Spot on, mate. Spot on.
Life Gems.
Yeah, what would they be called? Like Blood Gems?
No, they exist.
Oh, they do. What could they be called?
Clots.
Cholesterol bombs.
Clots.
Cholesterol bombs would be great.
Ugh.
What?
Ugh.
It's good for you.
Arterial juice.
Get it down you.
It's like, and you hold it up and you go, and then you
Arterial of the abyss.
Mikhail,
shush. Mikhail London says Demon's Souls, but please keep all the quirks and make it like the remakes of the LucasArts games where you could switch to classic mode with original graphics at any time.
Oh my god, because that would lead to some great video moments of people playing it and trying to parry and fucking up, press the wrong button and turning to old graphics and dying. I got it. What's this parry? Click. Oh, dicks. I'd enjoy that greatly.
David Dunn says, I don't bloody care because PS4 exclusives and I'm so bitter, so bleh. Demon's Souls would be special, I think, remastered or a sequel. Pete Lawson at Mr. Worry says, a sequel to Bloodborne but not called Bloodborne 2. I want Bileborn, Phlegmborn or Vitrus Humaborn. Phlegmborn.
Bileborn is good.
Yeah. Snotborn.
Earwaxborn.
Let me see what else we have. Threnser says Demon Souls remaster. DS1 with DS Fix on PC is fine, and I feel like it's kind of burned out making Souls games. Bloodborne is a great game, but I'd rather not have it tarnished with a lackluster sequel.
That's a valid point. That's very valid. I would agree with that. I wouldn't want to have it sullied with shit content. It probably wouldn't be shit, but...
Mike Raver, whose Twitter name is The Real Mike Raver, says, Demon Souls, it was an awesome, underrated game and deserves a sequel. Not to say it's worse than Dark Souls, but but Dark Souls already has 2. Bloodborne to me is just fine as a standalone story.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, and there's a little bit of talk here.
There's more.
Justin Snyder tips in like Demon Souls and Dark Souls have a special place in my heart, but Bloodborne is my favourite Souls game. I'd go for that sequel over anything else. And Mike says this would be true if it hadn't been for the Chalice dungeons. It really downgraded the whole feel of the game for me. That is contentious. Some people
Chalice dungeons are the big heel, like the hinge it swings on, isn't it, for some people?
Well, Chalice dungeons are one of the reasons that I kind of found my way back into Bloodborne, because I thought like, right, I'll have a bit of a twat about in here, and found some like decent stuff which helped me progress in like the main game as well. For me, like the thing that I'd like to see with any sort of sequel to Bloodborne, or if there's any improvement, is like let's have builds be more of a thing. I'd quite like armor and clothes to be a bit more valid. I'd like the
hang on.
I'd like the PvP.
I'm going to shut you up, because armor and clothes are very valid. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
they work off percentages, not fixed values. So they'll always be like, this will be your good poison clothes. This will be your good strong clothes. That's how they work. They work on percentages, not on flat values.
I'm gonna lull you back in now and say something to you, which is going to change your mind.
Well, they're also all nice coats.
Or at least put you in a different place, right, Paddy? You ready?
No, come get some. I'm ready for you.
Colour palette. Imagine if you could go, well, right, this is specifically directed at you. Imagine if you can go, it's a really nice top hat and coat, that. Can I have it in shocking pink? Can I have the hat orange? Yes, you can, Paddy. Yes, you can. Would you like to colour a boy?
I like to colour a boy.
That's out of context. That sounds terrible.
There's the clip for the show. I don't think I'd want that. I know we're goofing. I know we're hard goofing here, but like I think my real answer is I wouldn't want that. I think it'd look terrible. Because that would just encounter like you go online and you just got Weed Lord 77 in a bright green hoodie.
Are you Electronic Arts? Are you Pink Darth Vader? You are. You're part of the problem.
I am, but you have to pay me.
What next? Loot boxes, Paddy?
I am.
Loot boxes. Is that what you want?
Yeah, pay me. And I might let you have Pink Darth Vader.
The Alpha Zone Gaming, who asked me on their podcast about a year ago when my old PC was shitting itself. The PC we were kindly given thereafter was having hiccups, and I couldn't go on. But they were really lovely about asking me, so I still owe them a little bit of a visit, and I haven't forgot. So thank you, the Alpha Zone Gaming. They said, honestly, Dark Souls Remastered sounds pretty good to me. It's my favourite from the series, so why not? Knight Twitten, the High Gay Overseer, as the Twitter handle is, said, I want all 3. That's in capitals as well, so I want all 3.
Cakey pie answer.
No, it's cakey pie. But if pressed, I would say either a new Demon Souls or Bloodborne sequel. As much as I love DS1 and Demon Souls, I want something new and shiny. Alternatively, Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1 remastered, please. Glenn Mooney says... said, sorry,
Can I have that one more time? Can I have that one more time?
Glenn Mooney.
Okay.
Who is at Skidushuk on Twitter, said, sorry, did I miss the episode where you guys declared you're becoming sadomasochists? Probably. That's like asking me, which of your children gets to live, you monsters? Brian gets to live, and maybe Fanny.
Soissons Nerf.
Soissons Nerf. Sorry, I'm just scrolling up filth time. William Dunn, the Duntist, said, I'd say a Demon's Souls remake just out of the virtue that I never got a chance to play it. And it sort of complete my experience of the entire franchise. Something related to Bloodborne would be cool, even if it wasn't a direct sequel as such, just something tangentially related. Hansford says, I wouldn't have a problem with it being a spiritual success to Bloodborne. With regards to, I presume that's the new title that we have so far. But at the same time, I want radically different elements as well. I just know the atmosphere is going to be great. So here's Shiony Boy says, I'm cool with a sequel as long as it's not a glorified DLC package. I want new characters, new worlds.
Okay.
So that's with regards to the no game also. Another interjection from Nightwit, and he says, I'm guessing either a new Shadow Tower or a fresh IP from the new little bit. I'd love to see a new Shadow Tower, but I'm just as excited by the idea of From diving into something completely new. Sina Weevil comes back with that one as well and says, my thoughts are that any of those on that list are going to make me do a lap of the office with my shirt pulled over my head. Let your belly button be your one true mouth. Let your nipples be your true eyes. Let that lap be magnificent, you florid beauty.
Watch out for the chairs.
Yes. And that... Oh, I was going to say that's it on the Twin Humanities one. But
Christ!
Guess what? 13 new notifications. Let's go back down here. Oh, some of these are Warframe related.
Got another show for that.
Alison by Proxy says, none of the above. New IP that fits nicely into the Soulsborne family, please.
Cakey pie.
And Joshua Garrity says this, but Josh said something else to me on my own account.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not the end of the feedback.
Oh.
God, it's like we had... I mean, it's like nobody ever listened before, and now at least they're talking to us. We're valid! Jesus Christ, it's happened!
We're valid!
So let me see. With regards to the Dark Souls remaster, Jamie, that guy Jangle, was saying that there's a Switch version 2. Apparently, I'll end up getting it on Switch plus 1X if true. Would be impossible to decide between portable Souls plus 4K HDR Souls. Good call. I might even get a Switch for that. Dunno. Oh God, you know sometimes like there are people you'd rather not talk to you, and they send a message anyway, and it's only polite for you to read it.
Oh, yeah? Is this? Yeah.
No. Paddy Araya says, I'm not sure how to feel here. This is regards to the Dark Souls remaster. For me, I don't want any extras or balance adjustments. I just want it in full, lovely, grungy HD and blight down to work. That would do me.
Yeah.
Just stop listening, Paddy.
By the way, the name there isn't Arai.
What is it?
It's Ari. You get to the end, it says Gato.
Really?
That's from JoJo's, as it always is. It's an Italian man named Bruno Buccaletti, and it's what his stand called Sticky Fingers says when it punches you.
I can only apologise for not knowing that in advance.
Gato! And then he punches and they go. It's great.
But funnily enough, following on from that, Jeremy Greer says, assuming it's true, I'll take some quality of life stuff from the later games like password, co-op matching, disappearing UI, and 87 face bosses. Fair play.
Oh dear.
Let's see what else we got.
We can't still be going.
Yeah, with regards to the... I've been active on social media. I'm an influencer now.
Don't.
Look at my hair.
God, shave it off. Get rid of it. It's corrupted you.
Shake it off.
The colour comes from the inside.
Again, with regards to the Dark Souls remaster, Samuel Mills says, I'd buy it in a heartbeat, although I'd rather have a Demon Souls remaster since I never got around to playing it. Maybe tomorrow. Join hands with me.
Do you know what's really funny is everyone wants a Demon Souls remaster. None of you are getting it. You're not getting it. I'd stake money on it.
JC, who goes under the guise of @QuestingAce, says, this isn't surprising. Banco, I can never say the name.
Banco?
Bamco needs Dark Souls, and this is probably a test run using a new developer to take over the series. That's quite sinister.
That is sinister. Ooh, dirty.
Josh Garrity from the Wise and Powerful Kane and Rids says, I'd be up for a spit and polish job. So what's on Nerf? Improved frame rate, high-res textures, etc. The inclusion of disappearing UI would be good too, but I don't want them to go back and change Lost Title or whatever. Even the dips in quality are part of the identity of the game for me now. Somebody sounds like someone needs to subcontract Bluepoint Games, the masters of remastering, says Angel No Moon, in a kind of very Resident Evil kind of way. I presume they're like gel.
They want sandwich with their cakey pie.
Let me see. Pete Lawson goes on to say, with regards to the Dark Souls remaster, not on Vita though, that's dead, mate. I imagine, which is a shame, since then I wouldn't have to buy a Switch. Even Sony are making stuff for the Switch now. That's how dead the Vita is.
I want a Vita version. I'd play a Vita one.
A Vita version.
I like a Vita version.
Vita version.
I like a Vita version. I like a Vita version. Ain't never happening. I love a Vita version. Vita version.
Jeremy McGreer goes on to say, I was being flippant before, but I 100% agree. It's what I've always said about Demons. I don't even need an up-res. Just bring it over, warts and all. It ain't got no warts, mate. It's got beautiful feet.
It's got a few warts.
It's beautiful feet.
It's got a few warts. Try and get yourself a Bladestone. You'll come out in warts. Stress warts.
I'm going to give a shout out as well to Lenit360, who constantly listens to us and talks about us amongst listening to other podcasts. And you're a good lad, and thank you very much for going through our entire back catalogue.
But now you say that, he won't hear this because he's been listening to the Humanities episodes, not the Twin Humanities, because he doesn't really like Dark Souls.
All right,
so he's not even going to hear that unless we tell him to listen.
Maybe there's a point like where he tries one of the remasters and goes, that's great, and then starts with the Twin Humanities stuff. And then in about 5 years, when we're not doing any of this anymore, and we've kind of evolved into our like second Pokemon evolution, fire, water creatures, we just get a message in a bit of paper on the back of a bird that just says, "I'm up to date. Thanks for mentioning."
It'll take him 3 days, and you know it.
Let me see. That I think.
Are we done?
Hold on, I'm scrolling up. There might be more messages. There
Come
might
on
be more
with
messages.
This now. It's getting silly. You're making these up. These people don't exist.
Yeah, I could do that.
At Monaco Grand Prix says Demon Souls remaster. Good person. Let's have a look down. At Lemmings says, yeah, Demon Souls HD. Good answer. Good answer.
At Roblasters for the win says, keep believing, CJ, like that Journey song. Don't stop, yo, my man.
At Crash Bandicoot says, I'd
no,
like a
now
Demon
you're
Souls
ruining
remaster.
It. Paddy, we've got one more here.
Right.
From Tom Durbin at Kaliko Spack.
Not a real person. You made him up.
Genuinely. No.
Not a real person.
I can't. He's wearing a rather nice hat, though, the sort of thing that you would choose in a character creator.
So not a rather nice hat at all.
Miyazaki... Shush! I really can't imagine Miyazaki doing another sequel. I hope it's something completely new that will surprise and amaze us, just like Bloodborne did. But just above that, 17 new notifications!
Oh, dick off.
Dick off says...
Demon Souls. Good man, that dick off. So that's on Nerf.
Yeah, don't stop believing, CJ. Just like that Journey song. You're my favourite one. FTW.
Oh.
Let me see. With regards to the Shadows Die Twice, Jonathan Funari says that the device looked Bloodborne-ish, strange arcane stroke mechanical device. Man, I need to play Bloodborne again. I am kind of hankering towards playing Bloodborne again because I do need to dip into that DLC. I really do.
We were going to do it together, weren't we? It just didn't happen, did it? We should.
Also Bloodborne.
I've got a character ready.
Swass on Nerf.
Swass on Nerf.
Let me see. Just scrolling up.
Oh my god! Everyone stop talking. Just everyone stop doing tweets. Everyone stop doing tweets now. I want a cup of tea.
Sean McElroy.
Oh,
Sean McElroy.
He's I know him.
Yeah, you do.
I know him.
He took a picture of you, and you travelled the world in a meme.
I did. Thanks, Sean. Hashtag. He hates that. I'll cut that out. He hates that. I won't.
Sean says this feels tenchu to me. Interesting.
Well, it's got the Japanese text in the background, hasn't it? Which has never shown up in any Souls game.
Well, it's he's got a kind of
kanji.
a video here that says From Software History Lineup, and it says From Software Inc. next title on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, PlayStation VR, which is something that we not considered, and then it says 2017 dash. So I don't know what he's referring to there, but we'll look into it for next time. Good lad, Sean. Like him a lot.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, he likes Dark Souls too, so he's fine with me. Wise and powerful badge I will pin on your lapel. Let me see. Gibbs Raynock says, I've been thinking it's a new Shadow Tower until I had a few folks convince me it could be a new Tenchu game. Again, this is not related, but these two people are joined together like bread and a sandwich. I'd love for it to be a brand new thing, though. Let me see. I think that's it.
Okay. What year is it?
I don't know, mate. It's very dark, and I'm sure it was quite bright when we started this.
It was. The sun's gone down.
It's very dark here.
Well, yeah, but that was all good feedback. Even the stuff you made up.
No, although it did sound really good with regards to the Journey references, so thanks to all those people I just made up that said that. Thanks for your support. And maybe PSX. Maybe PSX has something for us.
Never going to happen. No.
I need to believe.
No.
Like Journey.
No.
Right, but thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. It's the Twin Humanities. We've done one. We're going to do another one.
It's been fucking ages,
We're going to have a guest
it?
on. There's probably going to be stuff after that. So, love you, lads.
We can talk about that Bloodborne comic next time.
Oh, guys.
Can't wait.
Yeah, well, goodbye.
Bye.